Burwellbeing with Sally Lander.
Hello and welcome to Burwellbeing. I'm Sally Lander. I'm a yoga teacher living and teaching in Burwell. And over the last few weeks and months, I've been interviewing some of my favourite people who are at the centre of Burwell's well-being. Today, it's Helen McMenamin-Smith. Many of you will know of Helen from the Burwell Community Facebook, and you'll have seen her around the village as well, dressed in her high-vis with her litter-picking crew, tidying the village. They meet regularly, and it's been a developing project, which Helen's going to tell us about in the interview. She's also got a new one-day project, a very exciting project happening on the 29th of May, Saturday the 29th of May. So I want you to look out for that, and there'll be lots more news coming up. But basically, Helen is planning to coordinate a special litter pick of the roadsides all the way from Burwell to Quay, involving groups from all the villages in between. And what's more, there are going to be refreshments on the green in Swaff and Bolbec, including lots of cake. And so it's going to be really exciting. Do put it in your diaries now, Saturday the 29th of May, but you'll hear lots more about it as time goes on. So now over to Helen as we meet up on Zoom.
Good morning, Sally.
Yay! Hi, Helen. I'm always so thrilled when this works, aren't you?
Oh, very, very, yes.
Your story is such an important story, and it's this kind of double thing of what happened to you and what's resulted from that. But both the stories are really important, and then in their connection.
Yes, yes.
You know, is so important.
It is, yeah. You know, every day I wake up and I thank God I'm still alive, because I'm so lucky to still be doing so much. And so to be able to achieve what I've achieved is just brilliant.
It is extraordinary, Helen. It really is. My first question is about your relationship with Burwell.
Well, I just love Burwell in terms of, as a village, there's everything you possibly could need. You know, you've got 2 co-ops, you've got a chemist, you've got a butcher's, you've got a baker's, you've got everything you need in Burwell. But importantly for me, you've got great access to some beautiful walks or bike rides, i.e. Wicken Fen, the Spring, Priory Woods. I go there a lot with Ollie, my dog, the Weirs. But I suppose importantly, what I do love about the village now is its great community spirit. And it certainly has got a lot of that. And I've been able to experience that through everything that I've tried to organise.
And how long have you lived here, Helen?
I moved here in 1995, and I first moved to Hatley Drive. I wasn't with John then, and I bought a bungalow in Hatley Drive, which I loved. Later on, after having our daughter, we moved then to Silver Street. But I moved to Burwell because I had an amazing career in Newmarket. At that time, I was just running one company. I started off as an apprentice at the Welding Institute, and I ended up as managing director of a high-tech electronics company in Newmarket that supplied electronics to companies like British Aerospace and GEC. And then I took over part of my husband's company in Lincoln, part of a GEC company, and that's how we met. And I did wonder why he kept ringing me up rather a lot. And then we got together and we had our lovely daughter, Alex. So I had 3 months off work. But then with such an amazing career, I went back, but there was no way I was going to leave Alex in anywhere not very special. So I got a full-time nanny because I had such a difficult childhood. And after 2 years of being back at work, I became so very ill all the time. And to cut a long story short, I suffered for 5 years, and it took me 5 years to work out that I had acquired lupus. which is an autoimmune condition. By that way, I'd taken over another company, and I was also running another company in near Tewkesbury, near Cheltenham. And so they gave me the medication, and that was fine. I began to feel better again. But then the company I worked for, Smith's Industries, would send me off to America or somewhere to sort a company out over there. And I became very ill again. And this kept happening, so I had to stop work because, and Alex was 5, I think, and so I became a full-time mum. But I couldn't just give up work and not do anything, so I joined the Friends of Burwell Village College and helped with the school and the Christmas, fetes and things like that. I helped run the swimming pool as well. A day a week I did work at the print centre as well. And then recently, after I started the litter picking, I joined the council.
At that stage, did you miss all that high-flying career that you'd had?
I did. Because part of me is, wow, you've achieved so much, Helen. I was very upset that, I couldn't carry on. So therefore, doing other things has always been part of my life, really. Yeah.
You have to find challenges all the time. And so is this the point that we should come to, that really big life-changing event, which is the most extraordinary story? Because I've read Helen's book, but I know that, not everybody listening will have. So we need Helen to tell us this other extraordinary event.
Okay. Well, one of my interests was photography. Of my next door neighbour who was doing this photography course by the coast. And my friend also she wanted to come along and do it. So we went along, we stayed in a hotel in the coast. We did the photography course for the day. And then we left probably about 3:00 and told John we were on our way home, and he was doing me a lovely roast dinner. And then I can't remember what happened.
And what year was this, Helen? What year was this?
This was in 2013. So 7 years ago, 8 in June, I think. Yeah, 8 in June. So we were travelling along there. And what happened was that as we got to Ely, it was getting towards sort of 5-ish, and we thought it would be busy. So we took the shortcut down the Little Port Road by the river. And that was a big mistake because I was driving down there apparently, and a motorcyclist was coming in the other direction. He hadn't had this big motorbike long, but he revved up to catch up with his friends because there was a group of them in front, and completely lost control and came into my side of the car and hit it and crumpled the car. He unfortunately died instantly. And then the car rolled over and caught on fire from the petrol from the motorbike. Now, my friend managed to get out. She was okay, but she was in total shock, of course. And 3 amazing people who are now very good friends, they helped get me out. Otherwise, I would not be alive. And they got a little bit burnt getting me out. So there was Alan, who was on his own, and then there was Chris and Nikki, who were in the RAF, and they got me, Alan and Chris got me out, and then Nikki resuscitated me once because it had taken the top of my head off, basically. The air ambulance arrived Magpass, amazingly. They resuscitated me another 2 times and put me in an induced coma, which not all air ambulances can do because Magpass had a qualified doctor with them, Wayne, who I know. And I think air ambulance now, they have qualified doctors with them, got me to hospital where I was for 3 months, and I only remember the last 2 weeks. So I completely lost my memory. Even at 2 weeks, I didn't even know who John or my husband John and my daughter Alex were. So that's how bad it was.
And how old was Alex then?
Alex, amazingly, she was just about to sit her GCSEs. So she was 15, nearly 16. And Southern Village College, who were great, said to her, "Would you like to delay taking them, Alex?" And she said, "No, my mum wouldn't want me to." And she amazingly took them and got, I think, 10 A's and 2 A stars. So, yeah, very proud of Alex and went through all that. It was horrendous. She came in for the first few days, but I think she struggled so much seeing me as I was. It was a while before she dared go back.
And so then you came round after the 3 months.
I came home.
Had to explain to you what had happened, presumably.
Yes. And, I came home and basically I had to learn everything again. I didn't know how to use my phone. I couldn't see properly because my eye was pointing in the other direction. I had to have an eye operation. I just would sit in front of the telly, really, and John had to teach me things again, like didn't even know what, say, a camel was. And so he used to do lessons with me. And then everything sort of, it came back slowly, but it took a while. But he was a great help. John had only recently retired, so it was great that he was able to be my full-time carer. Otherwise, I would have had to have gone into a head injury place for a while.
Yes, that's the one bit of good timing in all of this, really.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Definitely.
And I'd like to say at this point, we will put a photo up with the interview. I think a lot of you will know Helen. Obviously a lot of the listeners will know Helen personally. And then a lot of you will know Helen by sight, not knowing that this is the lady whose this story is. And when you see Helen around the village, it is absolutely inconceivable that this whole story, including the lupus as well, is Helen's story. My parents have met Helen a couple of times, and you are one of their very favourite people in the village.
Oh.
And my mother is a lifelong elegant woman, and she says every time she sees you, she says, "Now that is a very attractive woman. She knows how to dress."
Wow, thank you.
No, it's great, isn't it?
I'll have to tell my husband that.
And you kind of, somebody who's been through just so much physically,
Yes.
you think there would be, from an acquaintance, some kind of feeling that this is the person who's been through the mill. And that is the last thing you feel when you meet you, Helen.
Thank you.
Do you feel it inside, though, still?
I still have a lot of difficulties in terms of my injuries. For instance, I can't smell or taste, and I have to have a sleep rest in the afternoon. But other than that, no, I honestly wake up and thank God every day that I'm still alive, and I love doing the things I've been able to do for the village, because it's such a good place to live, and I love good friendships. I've been very sad coping with COVID and not being able to talk to too many people, but I'm always out, and if I'm not out, I do a jog, which is a cross between a jog and a walk with my dog Ollie every morning. So we do about 3 miles, and I'm often out with my litter picking stick, and I just love helping and talking to people.
Well, so you've mentioned the litter picking.
Yeah.
So tell us the story of how that began and the stage that it's got to, because it's really developed, hasn't it?
Yes. So the first time I went out after my accident was probably a good year and a half. And we walked down by the Lode. We went down to the Lode. And I was so disappointed on my first walk out. I think there'd been something going on around there or some music. And there was so much litter. And I said to John, look, do you mind? Can we come back tomorrow and pick it up? And, of course, we didn't have any sticks then. But, yeah, we went back and we picked it up. And, again, it looked beautiful. And then a few months later, John said, do you want to try and go along the Devil's Dyke? I said, yeah, I'd love to. It was a lovely day. So we parked at the car park there. And, oh, my goodness, someone had done some fly tipping. So there was just loads of old tiles and rubbish there. And so I said to John, do you mind if we come back? And, of course, John said, no. And so we took, by that time I'd been able to use my phone again and I'd got a new phone. So I took some before pictures and some after pictures and with the bags we've collected. And I got so many nice, appreciative comments on the Burwell Facebook page. And I thought to myself, people really do care about litter and seeing it. And by that time, I'd got a lot better in communication. So I went to the council and asked them if they would let us get, involved with the litter. And anyway, they did. They bought us, they gave us £200 for sticks and tabards. And we started the litter picking group. And first of all, we talked to Peter Lancaster and Paul Webb, and we set up the dates, the last Saturday of the month, either at one end of the village or the other end of the village. And that's how the group started. And we became great friends. And at times there was 30 people there. And importantly, we've been trying to get the children involved as well, because we think that's great. And they are, which is good. So that's how it started, and then went on to other projects. For instance, leaf clearance in the causeway, because I saw my friend's mum walking down there one day and she was scared to walk on all the leaves because it was so slippery. We've done bulb planting. I think now we've done 2,000 bulbs. And I managed to get some donated money by the firms in the village. And last year from the carnival as well. We've walked through to Reach. We've cleared the litter on the Reach Road. We've done the Fordham bypass with the Fordham people, which was great. We've had people helping out at Pauline's Swamp as well, and the spring. So we've cut the borders back in the spring to allow the grass to grow better. So many different projects.
Yes, it's really grown, hasn't it? There's other work that you do as well, but staying on the litter picking, how has that been affected this last year? So you were saying, you're out walking and obviously you'll pick things up, but what's happened with the group this year?
They've all got a stick. A lot of them have been out individually, or with their partners. And that's how we've been doing it, basically. But as soon as we can, we'll be back together. And can I mention a big one that I'm doing?
Oh, yes, please.
This we'll all read about in Clunch, this next Clunch that you'll get. On the 29th of May, I'm planning to do a Burwell to Cambridge litter pick, to Quay Mill, basically, to raise money for Keep Britain Tidy because it needs more money. And I'm going to have getting Swaffham Prior involved, and Swaffham Bulbeck are going to be involved. And I've had some offers to do cakes and coffees and teas on the green at Swaffham Bulbeck. So it will be a big day. And hopefully we'll all be injected by then, but if not, we'll have to all be sensible. but it will be well managed. And so that's my next big project. And I hope people would love to get involved. And my details of how to do that is in Clunch. And I'll later put it on the Burwell community website as well.
So that's, did you say the 29th of May?
May, yes, the last Saturday.
Saturday, fantastic. Yes, I mean, things should have moved on a lot by May, shouldn't they?
Yes.
Have you had your vaccination?
No, not yet. I'm hoping it will be very soon. Oh, by the way, in mentioning that, from the 28th of May through to the 12th of June is the Keep Britain Tidy Spring Clean couple of weeks, which they do every year, and thousands of people get involved. And that will be from the 28th. So I'm doing it as part of that.
Great. That's good timing, both with Keep Britain Tidy and with any luck with the coronavirus. We should be in a good position by then, shouldn't we? Fingers crossed. Sorry, I know I shouldn't say anything.
No, fingers crossed, yeah.
You touched a little bit, Helen, on how the year has been for you because you are such a sociable person. And how has it been for your family? Is Alex with you?
No, Alex did a law degree and finished a couple of years ago, and she now works for JP Morgan in Bournemouth, a big finance company, and it's a great place to take our motorhome when we're allowed to go in it. But we haven't seen her. We saw her one day at Christmas, but we haven't seen her. John and I have done lots of things in the garden around the house. I love gardening, and we do cycle. We're fair weather cyclists, I'm afraid, but we do cycle a lot. I try and keep as fit as I possibly can because of my lupus.
So what are you most looking forward to when you can properly see people again? Is it the litter picking, or is it the kind of more the other kinds of socialising?
Seeing my daughter, first of all, and going to stay in Bournemouth, which is lovely. And that's first on my list. But just visiting people and, having a good old chat and catch up. And I have 3 lovely stepsons and now 6 grandchildren. So it would be great to be able to go and visit them again because they don't live locally. They're in Salisbury, Bristol, and up north, Northwich. So a long way away.
Oh, that must have been hard for John as well.
Very, very.
So do you do a lot of WhatsApping and Zooming and...
Yes, well, lots of Zooming with friends, and obviously our council meetings are all on Zoom. And,
yes. So when did you join the council, Helen?
At least 2 years ago now, and I'm enjoying it, and I think I'm doing some good things on that as well. So it's great that we can be able to do that over Zoom, because otherwise I think it would be, a big problem. There's lots of things that we can't do, like speed watch and things like that, but there's still a few things that we're able to organise now.
So is Speedwatch, is that connected with the council, or is that another one of your projects, Helen?
No, Speedwatch is connected with the council.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We so stand by the road and then we, obviously submit our recordings. The people don't get prosecuted or anything like that. They just get a note sent to them to say that they've been caught, and hopefully that will stop them speeding. So one thing I did want to mention.
Oh, yes.
I've now personally raised £10,000 for Magpass Air Ambulance, because without them, I wouldn't be alive. And £3,500 of that is from my book. The rest is from me doing talks at different places. And I will continue to do that because without them, I wouldn't definitely
be
here.
No. And is your book still for sale? Is it still possible to buy it? I got mine from Tina's.
Tina's, yes. My book's still for sale in Tina's.
Yes, and good to support Tina's as well.
Absolutely.
We can always get in touch with Tina. The phone number's there, and no matter what the stage of lockdown, it's still possible to get in touch. And about your other work, I wanted to ask, about the litter picking and the other ways, is it best to get in touch with you through the Burwell Community Facebook?
Yes, that's fine. You will see my numbers in the clunch, phone number and my email, but you can get in touch with me through, messaging, and just send me a message. If you're not a friend, I'll click it anyway. And importantly, some people say to me, Helen, we often, just walk by the church and there's a lot of litter there or somewhere else. And they said, how do we get a litter picking stick? And I said, I will give you one. Oh, no. And I said, yes, because what you're doing is part of the community and we've got some funding now. And if you're prepared to do it, that's fine. Absolutely. And that's what I've done. So recently during lockdown, I've given about 6 sticks out.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes.
And then, you can start by yourself now. And then when you see from Facebook that the group is going again,
yes,
you can come along and join Helen and the group.
Absolutely. And I have to say, I've made some lovely friends through the litter picking group, and we've had a couple of parties as well, a litter picking party, we call them. One has been here in the garden and the other one has been at the Fox. Yeah, they're lovely people. So I've made some.
It's brilliant, isn't it? It's such a fantastic thing. You think you're doing, and you are doing something to help somebody else. And then actually it just leads to so many positive benefits for you.
Definitely.
So then my last question is, all that you've been through, can you give out a tip or several for maintaining our health and well-being?
Yes, I would say I believe I get a lot of satisfaction out of being kind to other people and doing things from other people. And that gives me good mental health and satisfaction. I do a bit of everything really, but that's what I get a lot out of in my mental health, because obviously it's suffered. I suffer from anxiety a lot now. They say that when you've got a brain injury as bad as I have had, you either suffer from aggression or anxiety, and mine's the anxiety. So I can cry easily, but I don't. Because I get a lot of goodness about helping people, my family, Alex, about other people, about the village. I suppose that's why I always stop and have a good chat to people, because that's me.
Yes. I don't recall whether it was said in your book, Helen, but I had no idea that you were suffering from anxiety. And thank you so much for telling us about that, because I do think it really helps, that you see a person who has a very successful life and you could think, oh, that person has no problems. Even though we know that you had your problems, it can look from the outside that that's all behind you.
Yeah.
And I think it's really wonderful for a person to tell us that they're still working with those things and that you can just keep working with them. And I completely agree with your tip. Kindness is definitely the way forward, isn't it?
Well, it has been for me all my life, because as you will read from my book, I didn't have, I had a very unhappy childhood, but I never gave up. I always looked forward, and I had some wonderful friends and colleagues at work that helped me. And the one thing that I was very good at, and have been told, is that I have great communication skills, and I feel that's important in life. And with my job, when I was a technician engineer, I was the person with the operators. So they had these big automatic wire bonders, and they'd call me to come and fix it, and I'd teach them how to do it. And I'd say, you can do this. And I always gave them confidence in themselves. And through that, the whole operations improved. And so that's what I'm saying to people. Don't judge yourself. Always try and better yourself in anything, because you're capable of doing it if you want to, if you try.
Thank you, Helen. That's fantastic. And can't thank you enough for agreeing to come along, because I know it's not always easy, especially on Zoom. And I look forward to bumping into you in the village again one day, very, very soon.
Thank you.
Burwellbeing with Sally Lander.